This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I'm thinking here, as we begin, I truly believe what we're going to talk about today is something that is so important, we don't realize it, and also we run from it, but we don't know we're actually running from it. And I am talking about feelings, but not just feelings, feeling things in your life. And many times we avoid them because we don't want to work through it, but that's where the change and transformation takes place. That's how I view this. I'm so intrigued to hear what she's got to say as a galactic shaman, Reiki master. She's an animal healer, sound healer. I've had her do sessions with me, just had one weekend a couple of days ago, and it's transformative. She's our professional of the year. Shayna Blackmar is back with us. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you?
Real good, real good. And I understand what we're going to talk about today, and I can relate to it. And would you say it's true that many of us don't want to confront certain things, and we just kind of push them over to the side because we don't want to deal? But essentially, when we say, I don't want to deal with that, I don't want to deal with that, essentially, you don't want to feel the feelings that come along with a certain situation, right?
Absolutely. And therein lies the problem. Our feelings are so important, and they, if we think it's going to be challenging, we're making it challenging. If we think it's something to be afraid of, we're making it harder, we're making it bigger than it necessarily is or was. But we have to, I guess we don't have to, there's always a choice. But if you want to heal, if you want to move forward, if you are, dedicated to the spiritual journey, whatever your motivation is, you have to feel your feelings. You have to love them, make friends with them, trust them, because the emotional body is connected to the spiritual body. And so we can't access multi-dimensional aspects of ourselves without connecting with and moving through the feelings, through the emotions.
So let's go there. Let's say you have a situation. I don't think it really matters what the situation is. I love to give hypothetical examples, but I don't think it really matters. Something presents and you're ignoring it. You're pushing it off to the side. You know it's there, but you don't want to deal with it. How do you engage yourself and feel comfortable feeling?
Absolutely. I mean, we may have been taught that it's wrong to feel, and so we push it away, right? But what you can do is set the intention to stay centered. And then I'm not saying 100% still in the storm, but within a centered space, if you're ready to feel and process something, usually something big, kind of need to process it by yourself so you can really express the feelings. Maybe you're angry and you need to just yell in your car. Maybe there are some tears that need to be shed and you need to just bawl, and that you want to do by yourself, right? But if you set the intention to stay somewhat centered, then you can feel the feelings, you can be in them without being knocked over necessarily. And the main thing is just to be curious, ask, where is this coming from? Why? What was there a belief around it? How has it served me? Is it still serving me? If not, what would be better? So it's more information, basically. And another really, really important thing in moving forward is that the logical mind cannot discern a shift in frequency. but the feeling center, your heart, your body can. Your body can feel a shift in frequency, something that's a lower frequency all the time, no matter what, 100%. And maybe you need more information. Like I had an example. I was talking with a friend just yesterday where she thought this person that she met recently was a really good person, and it turns out not so much. And the initial um, meeting, she felt his loving heart, and yes, that is there, but she needed more information, and um, and so in subsequent meetings, she gathered these other bits of data that she felt, but wasn't sure to trust because the first feeling she got was so loving. But later she, felt his ego. She felt his immaturity and all these other things. So they're all true. Everything she felt was true. She was just basically gathering more information um, to make a better judgment, or not judgment, but make a decision on whether she was going to allow this person into her life.
Hmm.
But to
How
trust
do,
the feelings, they were all true.
okay. So how do we differentiate between our intuition, the gut feeling, which is always right? You just got to know, you got to listen to it and know when it's coming up versus feelings, or are they kind of interchangeable?
Same, same.
Hmm.
Your feelings, your whole body is this magical antenna that is processing so much information, um, you know, within at least 6 feet of you, that everything you're feeling, whether it's an emotion, whether it's a constriction or an expansion, whether it's a gut feeling, whatever you're feeling is true.
Say that last part again.
Everything you're feeling is true. And once you learn to trust that, that is where you're honing and strengthening your intuition.
Okay, we have it's $100 tip moment. Like there's value in this one. So you're saying, Shayna, when you have a feeling about something, it's true. How do you know it's true? How do you know for sure, or it's not?
The mind can create doubt because we have there's distorted programming, there's limiting beliefs. So once the mind kind of gets wrapped in there, that's where we go awry usually. But our feeling is always true. We may need more information. We may need more feelings. We may need more data to make um, an accurate decision. But whatever you're feeling is true.
Hmm. I'm kind of blown away by hearing that.
You
I think
can trust it.
it's amazingly great. The part of me like wonders. All right, um, I have this feeling. It's been coming up for quite some time. Then there'll be other pieces of, like you say, data information around it that may get me off track of what the original feeling I had, but I keep going back to it. And then, but
Yeah,
and many times in some of the deeper stuff, we don't want to believe it. We don't want to accept the fact that what we're feeling is true, I guess.
absolutely. Well, take an example is a narcissist. Say you have met someone and everything he or she says is good, is, ideal, is what someone should say. But your feeling is, that it sounds right, but something feels off. You can trust your feeling. There's something off underneath. That person has learned what to say, and the logical mind is hearing, yes, that is a good thing to say. But your feelings are saying, red flag, something is out of alignment. There's a low vibrational undercurrent there, ego, wounds, whatever is going on. But that you can trust that feeling and adjust accordingly.
Interesting. Mm. All right. Well, that's one aspect. Then there's, like you said before, you feel like you need to cry. Cry. Men, it's okay. You've been told. Man up. Big boys don't cry since you were a kid. There's a reason we cry, to process, release energy, work through it. And as I understand it, I think we're the only mammals, maybe one other mammal cries for emotion. The rest of us, tears, the rest of mammals on this planet, the tears are to cleanse the eyes and things like that. We do it for that reason. And also because we're releasing information, releasing feelings and all of that, right?
Yeah, crying is actually really powerful. Not only does it feel good, it's cathartic, but you're clearing things when you cry. And there's different kinds of tears. There's hot tears, right, where you're clearing anger. There's cold tears that are more like tears of joy or love, or even just feeling overwhelmingly grateful, joy, things like that. So there's different types of tears. And another way to look at crying is we are what, 75, 80% water,
Mm.
and and our cells are fluid and we need to flow. If we're not flowing, then that creates stagnation, that creates blockages, that creates illness. We need to flow in every way that the emotions will flow, whether it's crying, um, whether you need to, yell or throw a rock at a wall or whatever to move something out.
Hmm. Let's say you're afraid to feel. And many of us either were aware of it or not. And I know somebody in particular, no judgment, but I just look at them, their life, they're always busy. They're always busy. Always got a lot going on. Always scheduled. I have a feeling part of the reason is so they don't have to feel their feelings. They keep themselves busy because I know they're going through some stuff, and I try to support. How do you get out of that? How do you just face it? It's going to be better. Not going to be comfortable, but it's going to be better on the other side.
Yeah, that's tricky because there can be a lot of different factors that come into, the perfect storm that come in to create those kind of situations. I mean, definitely telling themselves that it's okay to feel and to do it in a place where they feel safe to do so, whether it's alone or with a trusted friend or whoever. Um, and
Mm.
once, however, they can shift that belief, whatever works for them, telling themselves, letting them know that they're safe. And maybe it's more of just understanding that it has to move. And, if something doesn't move, the body will make it move. And that's when we get something more explosive, like an illness or an injury, kind of
Mm.
forcing it to be still and to take a look at what's going on, to feel what's
Mm.
been waiting to be felt.
So is that why they say you need to be in a flow state? Because you always want things to be flowing, always moving.
I don't know if that's why they say it. Like my understanding of the flow state is when we're basically channeling, we're connecting in the source and just allowing it to move through us. But we also need to flow in the physical realm too, with the
Mm.
physical body, um, and then that flows into emotions and the spiritual body as well.
But when you
It
have
all.
things that even the physical state, but maybe it's not all physical, where you have thoughts and you block them. Like, again, feeling it come through. I should make a change in my life here. Like, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to put it, no, 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 don't want to deal with that. And then you go about your day, but you know that you should be dealing with it. But maybe the information is not coming from the physical, it's coming from elsewhere, but you blocked it. You put a block up. Let me just say you put a block up. So it's not flowing through you and out. And then inherently there lies some challenges that you might have.
Yeah, I just heard while you were talking that it can be really helpful to, if someone's super busy or I don't have time for this, whatever the excuse is literally to block out some time on your calendar to where you can settle, where you can be safe, where you can, block out 2, 3, 4 hours where you can process what you need to process. Because, yeah, if something comes up and you're out running errands, you don't want to just bawl in the middle of Target, right? I mean, sometimes you can't help it, but sometimes you push it down because it's just not an appropriate time or place. But if you can set up a time where you're alone or whatever, you're ready to process whatever comes up. And
Mm.
if you need to kind of then watch a sad movie to get it going or just start journaling, do what you need to do, but that can be helpful to create that space for you, for yourself.
Well, is it also that we don't want to feel sad? Most of this is why do we
Sure.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't feel good. But if we allow ourselves to feel it, it will move through rather quickly. It's when we hold on to it that there's more and more and more, and it can be explosive or it can be a whole lot to process. But if we process things as they come up and move through, rather than holding on to them, then it can process really quickly, within a day or two, generally.
Mm.
Um, just letting it feel, surrendering to it, surrendering resistance. When we constrict and are resistant to something, that makes it harder, that makes it bigger, that makes it more uncomfortable.
Mm.
But if we can surrender our resistance and just let it flow, be in the flow state, if it's an appropriate time and place, right, for you, that you feel comfortable doing that,
Mm.
um, you'll feel so much better, so much faster.
Well, thank you for saying that because I've seen it, experienced it, and I totally agree with it. We put up the blog. I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be sad. It flows through you relatively fast once you let it, and I believe it's coming up for a reason because you need to work through it. When it's haunting you or that thought, it's there for a reason, and it's going to come up again, and it's going to come up again, and you need to deal with it. If you don't, like you said, there could be some physical challenges down the road. You never know.
Absolutely. And it's like you said, it's coming up for a reason. Just be curious. Why? What do I need to learn from this situation, from this feeling? And there's another factor that we haven't touched on yet is maybe it doesn't feel like yours. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're processing and helping something for your family or the collective. In that case, absolutely let it move through because it's
Mm.
not yours. And it will move through pretty quickly because it's not yours. It's not attached to anything. It's not tied, to any memories or experiences that you've had. So, we're all helping each other as well. So sometimes you're not necessarily processing your own emotions, your own feelings, depending on the kind of person that you are. Some of
Mm.
us are also helping the collective. And so if we feel something and we can't connect it to anything that's ours, more than likely it's for the collective or maybe family, or maybe you have a close friend who's going through something and you're, energetically helping them. Just let it flow through, let it move through. And that is a form of transmutation. That is a form of letting that lower emotion move out and be transmuted into something higher.
I never thought of it that way, that you may be dealing with something that's coming from somebody else, but you might not realize it. Did I share lyrics with a song that came up for me while I was away?
Yes. I don't remember what it
Um,
is right now, though.
while you see a chance?
Yes, 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 that one.
And it still haunts me. And what stands out there for me, and I think it's a message to all, look at the lyrics. I never loved the song until like last week. It wouldn't go away. But the words, because it's all on you. You know, we look for outside validation. It's all on you. You know, you need to work through it. And that's um, whether you want to deny it or not. Nobody's going to help you with it. Yes, you can get support, but ultimately you need to make that decision to release it, work through it, feel it. How can you open?
Yeah, and a beautiful thing.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that reminded me of a beautiful thing when we do acknowledge a feeling, when we do, when we're ready to see it and see the experience, whatever happened, that automatically starts shifting it and changing it, and then it can start dissolving. So just by bringing awareness to it is helping make things move out.
Can you support somebody by, let's say they don't want to work through it. They know they really need to feel a certain situation, but they're just, there's some pushback. No judgment again. I understand it. It's just you don't want to feel sad, etc. Can you help somebody clear the energy around it so that it's easier for them to feel it and work through it?
You mean anyone or me personally?
You helping somebody else.
Yes, if I have their permission, but there's the caveat that they have to do a lot of the work themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I can help. Absolutely. Yes.
And what I'm referring to is you just making it a little bit easier by clearing up the negative, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the negative energy around a certain situation, so it's easier to work through the feelings.
Yeah, I can clear out interference and things like that, so that it's a little bit easier, and finding a higher perspective makes things easier too, and grounding, clearing things, blockages, things like that, so that what's ready to move can actually move and not just hit another block.
That's where I'm going with that. And I experienced it. You've done it for me last week. I said I went away, and I was about 3 days into being away. I'm a little solo retreat, and I wasn't feeling comfortable. Like there's something with, I just want to get in a nice vacation mode. And then you came along, and then it just flowed. That's the only word I got. It flowed. And it's like, all right, I've arrived. All right, things are better now. How do we find you? What's the best way, Shayna?
My website is Vurusha.com, Vurusha, and I'm on social media and Instagram at Shayna Blackmar Healing.
I know this stuff is woo for some, but it works. And
we all have feelings.
We all have feelings, and we need to feel our feelings, because things can happen if you don't. And I'm not meaning that in a negative way, but your body needs to let it go, and if you don't, it's gonna tell you that you need to let it go.
Yeah, that's just a fact.
Yeah, experience that too. Thank you for today. Thank you for a lot of realization that we all need to have, and I appreciate you. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.